Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Paolo and Stuart, welcome. You guys made it. Glad to have you here.
Thanks for having us, Deirdre.
So I have to start. You guys rarely do interviews with mainstream media. I'm not sure if you ever have. I couldn't find any. And there has just been so much scrutiny of stablecoins and Tether in particular. What do you want to get out of this?
Paolo?
I think Paolo is muted. It happens.
I think that one of the most important things to get out of this show is ensuring that the public understand the role of Tether. Tether is a great innovation. Its main role is to make the entire crypto economy, but in general in the future, possibly the entire digital online economy, much faster, much more efficient, being basically dollar on a blockchain. Blockchain is a brilliant innovation that has been created with Bitcoin and is securing hundreds of billions of dollars. And Tether is a stable coin so that it basically is pegged one-to-one with the dollar, is always redeemable with the dollar, and is the perfect use case for digital commerce. And as you rightfully pointed out in your last episode, Deirdre, Tether is being widely used across crypto exchanges as a way to get in and out of positions. So it's important that people understand the role of Tether as an innovation in the crypto industry, but also outside as the future of the digital commerce.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a good explainer of Tether's use case in the crypto economy. But Stuart, I want to ask you as well, what do you want to get out of this? I know that you guys have talked in the past about trust. Is that part of it? Do you want people to understand your story better, trust what's actually backing Tether? As Paolo just said something right away, that it's pegged one-to-one to the US dollar. That's not exactly the case though, is it?
It is the case, Deirdre. We are backed one-to-one to our reserves. And
your reserves are not the US dollar, though.
No, they're not completely US dollars, but they are fully reserved and backed. And we provide quarterly assurance attestations from independent accountants proving that all Tethers issued are fully reserved and backed. We've produced 2 of those so far this year, with the 3rd on the way. We hold a strong, conservative, and liquid portfolio, to your point, Deirdre, about the composition of our reserves, with an emphasis on safeguarding them. Most importantly, we have never refused a redemption to a customer, not one time. That's very important for the public to understand, I think.
So is this about trust as well, Stuart, then? Are you hoping that by coming on an outlet like CNBC, you're hoping to clarify some of the information out there, whether you think that's misinformation, misperception, but you guys are sort of ready to answer those questions and maybe talk a little bit more about those reserves? Do you hope to gain trust from your community out of this?
Well, that's a great question, and we're delighted to be here, Deirdre, so thanks again. We believe that the community has already vested its trust and confidence in Tether. Since February of 2019, we've grown from just over $2 billion worth of issued Tethers to our current market cap of in excess of $62 billion in issued Tethers, a growth rate of more than 3,000%. And more importantly, our 24-hour volume across exchanges lately is $45 to $50 billion, which dwarfs the competition. So we think the market has spoken. We believe the market has voted with its feet. The market has shown its trust and confidence in Tether and its products.
But Paolo, volume, popularity does not necessarily equal trust. Yes, you guys have grown immensely. You're now the 3rd most popular cryptocurrency in terms of market cap. So let's get into some of the details. Stuart just said that you guys are backed by reserves. You guys published a pie chart that showed less than 3% of that actually was US dollars. More than 50% of that is commercial paper. I know you guys have said that it's rated A2 or above. Can you give us any more details about what exactly that commercial paper is?
So we don't disclose our commercial partners, so that is quite important. We want to, given our our portfolio composition in commercial papers, we believe that it's quite important to respect the privacy of the banking partners that we work with. Also, you spoke about trust, and and the fact that volume is not a proxy for trust, but when an asset is not trusted and Tether is trusted, when an asset is not trusted, it gets sold at any price, and yet Tether holds perfectly the $1 price on all the crypto exchanges. So I believe that it's important to underline how the broader community trusts us. So I wouldn't rely on few. Yeah,
that's fair, but isn't that trust a little bit fragile? You have major people, regulators such as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen talking about the risks of stablecoin. You've got another Fed President, Rosengren, talking about the dangers of Tether. So is this not an opportunity to come on? I'm not going to ask for names, who exactly is in your reserves of commercial paper, but could you tell us a little bit more information? For example, is any commercial paper held in Chinese companies?
Stu, you want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Deirdre, our portfolio contains international commercial paper. As you noted from our public disclosures, it is overwhelmingly rated A2 or better. And we think that's the key thing here. And we think that transparency with the market and how the market has spoken and decided here is what's really important and what's important for your viewers to understand. With respect to Secretary Yellen, and regulation, we believe we are pioneers in this industry, which is all very new. Regulations, rules, laws are being made by the day. We are leaders in transparency and in getting information to the community and to our stakeholders, demonstrating that our issued tokens are fully backed and reserved, and we want to preserve that position. We are not just keeping up with rules, but we are helping to shape them, and we're helping law enforcement and regulators globally. We're committed to being a positive force in this ecosystem.
Two follow-ups to that. When you say international commercial paper, are you willing to give us any more details? Chinese commercial paper is thought of very differently as Canadian commercial paper.
As Paolo mentioned, we guard our counterparties' relationships with great discretion. We have a lot of sensitive information inside our companies as retail-facing entrepreneurs, and we believe we've given sufficient transparency into that. And again, the market has spoken. We're the most popular stablecoin with in excess of $62 billion worth of tethers issued and outstanding in the marketplace.
And when you say that it's rated A2 or above, whose rating is that? Is that S&P?
That's S&P, Fitch. That's across multiple. We've rated that across multiple rating agencies.
Okay. And I know that you guys, as you've mentioned, both of you have mentioned, you're the most popular stablecoin by volume. There are other ones, though, and many people have noted how Tether issuance has really come to a standstill as of early June. Can you explain what's behind that?
Sure. So actually, if you look at the charts, it's not just Tether that stopped growing as it was growing before. So sure, the second and third stablecoin by market cap grew just a little bit in the last month, but really nothing compared to the previous months. So that is just due to the changed market conditions and changed demand and offer. So you can see the crypto markets went down significantly from the top 65K for Bitcoin, for example. So it's clear that investors are waiting on the sidelines, and that reflects also on the issuances of stablecoins. So it's a broader, is something that we have all in common.
Paolo, I am looking at the charts and I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Let's take USD coin, for example. It has actually risen steadily in that time frame from about $23 billion to $27 billion. So I have a hard time understanding that argument.
Well, you should compare it with how it grew in the past 3 months, right? You can see that the growth from 23 to 26.5 is nothing compared to the growth from 3 to 2023 in just a few months. So it's of course Tether. There are many more Tethers in circulation, so there is less need new tethers. But if you are smaller, it's easier to grow faster. I believe that is, we are seeing.
Well, that's a different answer than what you just said. You said that demand has actually led to less issuance, but now you're saying that if you're smaller, you can issue more. It's easier. So I'm hearing two different things there.
I don't think is correct. So if you have, let's say you have $10 of a stable coin, arriving to $20 is easier than going from 63 to 70, right? So I think that what I'm basically saying is that the growth of the general growth of among all the major stablecoins has shrinked. So Tether definitely is flatlining, but the others are shrinking and slowing down as well. That is due to a different market demand that we are seeing this moment.
Well, there's also another difference between Tether and some of the other stable coins. Let's take Circle again as an example. They came out with their own disclosure. I believe it was yesterday or the last few days. And many are looking at it and saying that it was a better disclosure than Tether's. And if we talk about volume and we talk about its, relation or correlation to trust, what does that say? What did you make of Circle's disclosures?
Well, we're happy to see them follow in our footsteps and try to approach our level of transparency and disclosure that we've been putting out there into the marketplace. Again, we have quarterly assurance attestations that show from independent accountants that show that all of our tethers issued are fully backed. We have a strong, conservative, and liquid portfolio. And this stress testing, Deirdre, from a security standpoint, is very important. We've seen major downturns in the crypto economy before. In March of 2020, the Bitcoin price was cut in half over a couple of days. A few weeks ago, the price of Bitcoin fell by 30% over just a few days. And during that time, the Tether peg remained solid. All redemptions were honored, and the price across exchanges remained stable. So that is our offering. We're glad to see Circle following in our footsteps, but we stand on the strength of our disclosures and our transparency thus far, and we think the market is with us.
And you're not worried that their higher percentage of cash and cash equivalents could draw users away from Tether and towards them?
Not at all. That has been public for some time. We maintain cash, for example, that is many multiples above our single biggest redemption thus far, as well as above our biggest 24-hour period of redemptions. So we're quite comfortable with our portfolio as a whole and with our allocation of cash specifically. And we think the market, again, with that knowledge, has decided that Tether, again, is the most popular stablecoin when you look at 24-hour volume and when you look at market cap.
So you've talked a little bit about these attestations, which is kind of like an audit, but it's not an audit. What's the holdup? Why can't you guys have a proper audit of Tether reserves?
So the attestations are part of assurance services offered by independent accountants. Audits are another form of assurance services, Deirdre. For now, we are providing those quarterly attestations, those assurance attestations, showing that Tether is in fact fully backed and reserved. We are working towards getting financial audits, which, by the way, no one else in the stablecoin sector has done yet. We are seeing who will get there first, but we are in process. We are getting that done. Audit services have not been widely available inside the crypto economy as a whole. Everyone is still learning about this, but we are working towards getting those audits now. And in the meantime, we are providing the assurance attestations.
Would you like to be the first in the crypto community to get that audit?
We would love to be the first. We will see what happens.
So for your attestation, you're using a Cayman Island accountant, more Cayman. And if you're aiming to build trust, though, and there are all of these questions swirling, why not use an American firm?
We don't think that trust is necessarily vested in one country or another, Deirdre. More Cayman has a tremendous amount of experience in this sector, and they have been excellent partners for us. Furthermore, they are part of More Global, which is one of the 10 largest accounting networks in the world with more than 30,000 employees worldwide. So we think they offer a highly trusted and an authoritative view on the accounting field, and on our attestations.
At the same time, they weren't your first pick. You guys were working with a New York-based accountant, Friedman LLP. What happened there? Why did you move away from them? In your statement, you said that given the excruciatingly detailed procedures Friedman was undertaking for the relatively simple balance sheet of Tether, it became clear that an audit would be unattainable in a reasonable time frame.
A lot has changed in a few years. That information is a few years old, Deirdre. You're exactly right. You've hit it square in terms of the fact that we had a relationship with Friedman LLP, and in fact, Friedman offered a consulting report for us some time ago. But again, that's quite dated information. We're happy now with our relationship with Moore Cayman, by extension, Moore Global. And we are getting the attests, and the market is getting the information and the transparency that it needs to make good, efficient decisions about what to hold. So we're happy to continue along that path.
Who are you hearing from when you say that the market is getting enough transparency, enough information? Because it feels like the people I talk to are asking for more. So where's the disconnect here?
That's a good question. I think you might have to ask the people that you're talking to about that. But what we're hearing is from our customers who are important traders and players in the Bitcoin and wider crypto spaces. And more important, again, Deirdre, we are seeing that. We think the facts show that we are the most popular stablecoin in terms of market cap and 24-hour volume. So we're basing it on our feedback from our customers. You can see these people online. They may not be as loud as some of our opponents, but that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're seeing, and that's who we're hearing from.
Okay. And by the way, I just want to let the audience know that we just lost Paolo. He's had some technical difficulties, but Stuart, you and I can continue the conversation, and he can join back in when he gets here. So we do talk to lots of people. You know, one of my colleagues, Jim Kramer, he knows lots of major players in the commercial paper industry. And, you know, lots of other folks say that they ask whether they're doing business with you guys, especially because you're one of the top 10 commercial paper holders in the world. How is it, though, that none of the people we talk to as CNBC have heard of you guys?
Well, Deirdre, I can't speak to what someone else knows or doesn't know or sees or isn't seeing.
Well, help us understand that. Are you guys buying through an intermediary?
Right. That's exactly right. We maintain accounts at a number of banks, financial institutions. They request quotes for commercial paper offerings from their banks, who in turn request those from brokers and other counterparties, both direct from issuers and on secondary markets. So I can't speak to, I'd be speculating if I talk about how people see that or aren't seeing that in the CP markets. But that is how we are operating. That's how we're buying our commercial paper, which again is rated overwhelmingly A2 or better.
Can you give us the names of the intermediaries that you're, again, all of this in the spirit of sort of just alleviating, and I'm just the journalist here, I'm just bringing the questions. And I know we've talked before, and that Tether has been an extremely useful tool in terms of liquidity and velocity where others have not been. But can you tell us, sort of give us any of the names of the intermediaries that you are using so we can at least understand how it works a little better?
And you made that point very well in a previous segment a few weeks ago. So thank you for that. And we appreciate you recognizing the value that Tether brings to the ecosystem. One of our banks is Deltec Bank and Trust in the Bahamas. We have a number of other banking partners that we work with. As Paolo mentioned, we are very discreet and we're very sensitive to revealing information about our counterparties. But we are out there managing our portfolio in a conservative and a highly liquid and a strong way, and we will continue to do so. Okay.
So right now, a lot of lawmakers and regulators are talking about more regulation in this industry, specifically stablecoins. Gary Gensler, the SEC chair, said this morning that crypto tokens priced off securities must adhere to securities laws, even if on decentralized platforms. Are you guys prepared to, I know you said that you've sort of kept your cards close and there's a reason for that, but if you're required to tell us more about your reserves and particularly what kind of commercial paper you hold, are you guys prepared to do that?
Absolutely, Deirdre. We comply with all of our legal obligations and absolutely will continue to do so. as I may have mentioned before, we are not just keeping up with the new rules, but we are helping to shape them, and we are actively helping law enforcement and regulators globally. We're committed to being a positive force in this industry, and our actions, I believe, speak to that.
Does less regulation help you guys? And I know I talked about this on a previous segment as well, is that Tether doesn't become as useful if you are more heavily regulated. We saw what happened with some of the other stablecoins like Libra, which became Diem, right? It got caught up in too many questions. So I wonder, does more regulation hurt you guys in the long term?
I don't see it as quite that binary, Deirdre. I think that the right kind of regulation helps everyone in the sector. Stablecoin issuers and redeemers, consumers, traders, everyone in the space. So it's a question of getting that regulatory balance right. And again, we're working with global people, not just in the United States, but elsewhere, to see about getting the right mix for regulation, which is invariably coming to this sector. It's going to be more heavily regulated.
Paolo, I see you've rejoined us. It's great to have you back. Let me ask this next question for you. Could you tell us what's the process for a customer getting paid in fiat when redeeming tethers?
So the process is quite simple. So first of all, you have to, as a customer, you have to open an account at tether.co. That is the main website. Then once you have the account open, you have to go through a thorough KYC and ML process. And after that, you get approved. At that point, if you have Tether tokens, you can send the Tether tokens to the deposit address that you have on your tether.co account, and you can initiate a redemption. The redemption will ask you to specify the bank account and the bank where you want to receive the funds, and a wire is going to be sent.
And Stuart, did you say that no one has ever had any issue redeeming Tether for US dollars?
That's exact. Well, we have never refused a redemption by a Tether customer. That's what I said. Okay.
But also, I remember I got a statement from you guys not too long ago that said that, let me just pull it up here, that said, the New York AG's office made no negative findings whatsoever that tethers were not fully backed nor were ever issued without backing for the purpose of manipulating crypto markets. That's not true, though. They specifically did find that tethers were not fully backed.
No, the New York Attorney General's office, Deirdre, found that we made mistakes in our disclosures about the one-to-one backing with dollars. Within slightly more than 3 months, those disclosures were amended. And since then, as I noted earlier, Tether has grown from about $2 billion in market cap and issued tethers to over $62 billion now, with the velocity and the volume, the 24-hour volume that we're seeing across exchanges. So we think the market has decided that it trusts Tether, and we've moved on from the New York AG's matter. We were happy to put it behind us and happy to reach a settlement with that.
And you're not doing any business in New York now, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and then even when the website was not functional throughout 2017, people were able to redeem their tethers for US dollars, is that correct?
Paolo, do you want to jump in on that one, or?
Sure. So that's correct. So the way tethers in 2017 could be redeemed was through Bitfinex. Bitfinex was holding one-to-one relationship with dollars and tethers on the Bitfinex platform. So you, as a trader, as a customer, as a crypto user, you could send your tethers to Bitfinex. You were credited actual dollars, and you could request a wire out of Bitfinex.
Okay, let's move on because I know we've gone longer than we intended to, but this is a great conversation. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. A lot of folks have wondered, myself included, my producers included, who often say we need a CEO to do an interview. Your CEO has proved extremely elusive. Where is he and why doesn't he talk to media?
So our CEO, JL, Jean-Louis, and our CFO, Giancarlo, are two great businessmen. They are working as hard as they can. They are super hard workers. They are really deeply involved with our businesses. and they handle day-to-day operations, and they also are extremely available to our customers. You might have seen the piece from the Financial Times. Sam from Alameda was mentioned as he was referring to the fact that Giancarlo is extremely available to everyone in the industry to help with even basic, simple customer support questions, because this is what we are, right? So, and in the end, both BitMEX and Tether are two fintech companies, right? So I'm the CTO, I build all these products of course, with the help of the teams. And at the same time, you have Stu, that is our general counsel, has a huge experience in also on regulatory matters, and is the person that really helps us navigate this new industry. So you have the CTO and you have the general counsel. I believe that is the right choice for the public-facing discussions.
Okay. Well, I mean, you guys, we do appreciate having you here. But again, Stuart, it just comes back to this question of trust, which is, to me, sort of why we're doing this in the first place. You guys have been forthcoming, which I do appreciate. I know you don't talk to media often. Is there a way to gauge trust that isn't just on volume? I mean, you could make the argument that something can be popular that isn't good for you, like fast food or cigarettes. It doesn't mean that you should necessarily trust it. And if that means putting your CEO or CFO out there, is that something that you can imagine doing in the future?
Sorry, is that for me or for Paolo?
Go ahead, Stuart.
Well, look, as Paolo said, JL and Giancarlo work very hard as part of the team behind the scenes. They don't need the limelight. It is really just a matter of style, Deirdre.
They don't need the limelight, but what about the people that they're trying to serve? What if they want to hear from them?
Well, they do hear from them. As Paolo mentioned, our customers have a line straight to the top. They interface and deal with JL and Giancarlo all the time, and they make a point of referencing that when they talk to the media. I think Sam put that in when he talked to the Financial Times. So they're talking to the people that matter. Not to say you don't matter. We are happy to be here. And as the Paolo's the CTO, he gives media interviews all the time. We are a tech company fundamentally, and the chief technology officer is front and center. And we're both delighted to be here and talk to you.
Okay. Quick question, just to follow up on the audit, to go back a tiny little bit. I know that you said you would be thrilled to be the first sort of crypto company and stablecoin to go through an audit. Do you have a date in mind?
We don't at this time, no. But we are reaching back a couple of years for the financial audit, and that is in process. Okay.
Do you think that's years away, months away? Any clues?
Not years.
Only months away?
Yes, we think so.
Okay, great. Well, I hope you'll bring it to us, and we'd love to see it.
I'm sure you'll hear about it.
I'm sure we will. Maybe, who knows, we'll even get JL, your CEO, on to talk to us about it at that time. I'll keep trying to convince you guys. As we wrap up, is there any last word? I know that I've been asking you sort of a lot of questions that are out there. Is there anything that you guys want to say before we wrap it up? Paolo, maybe I'll go to you first.
Sure. So I think that I want to start back on the topic that I touched at the beginning. So Tether is considered by many the backbone of the crypto industry, is going even outside of the crypto industry as of now, is reaching online commerce, is the biggest one. It was the first. Let's do something that is really important for me, but also to everyone that works at Tether, is that Tether was formed in 2014 and actually created the entire space of stablecoins, and is driving the innovation since many, many years. So sure, there are new stablecoins that's great for diversification. We don't mind. We think that with more stablecoins, with more diversity, our voices will be heard louder, because again, this is a new industry, and support, although sometimes might not seem like that, we are part of the same group, the same industry, and we should work together to be fairly regulated, to push forward innovation, and so on. So, but Tether in the end is the biggest one, has proved extremely useful. Also, never failed to perform redemption. Is going through an attestation. Look at what we did in the last 6 months, right? We settled with an IAG. We were able to successfully get an attestation, and also we went one step further. with the breakdown reserves, and now you are seeing the others that are following our steps. So this is the beauty of this industry. We are creating this industry on the go, and I believe that Tether deserves that recognition.
Okay, and Stuart, part of the crypto community, a key part of that is transparency. And I have to say, I'm a little disappointed we didn't get any answers to one of the biggest questions that are out there, and that is just the makeup of the commercial paper. I'll ask you one more time, is there any more information, whether that be what kind of international commercial paper? Is there any Chinese commercial paper? And are you willing to give us any of that? I guess that was sort of my biggest question, a lot of folks' biggest question coming to this. And how do you feel if we don't answer that in terms of trust going forward? As we talked about, volume does not necessarily equal trust. And you do have competitors that are issuing more coins and perhaps seeing more volume than Tether. Just because you guys have led the way and grown to a $62 billion market cap doesn't mean it'll always be that way, right?
Well, that's true. Things may change as they move forward, but we have been leaders in transparency. We were the first to disclose anything about our reserves. So we're happy to see others following in our footsteps. And we will look for more ways to be transparent and more ways to push information out to our users, to our stakeholders, to the public as we go forward. But as Paolo mentioned, I think Tether deserves a lot of credit for bringing this market forward, for pushing the market to be more transparent, for pushing the market to do innovative things. And that's the key to Tether's success. We're laser focused on our customers. We are laser focused on innovation. And Tether fundamentally is more popular because it's transparent, it's trusted, it's liquid, and it's useful.
Well, I hope, guys, that this is just a first step. I know I still have lots of questions, but I also appreciate you being here. And I'm sure the crypto community will, look over some of the things you guys said, and hopefully that will add to the picture. And again, thank you so much for being here. We hope to talk to you again soon. Please let us know when that audit happens. We'd love to report on it and continue to report on you guys. So thanks for being with us.
Thanks very much, Deirdre.
Okay,
thank you very much, Deirdre.
And thanks to everyone for tuning in.